Good morning, everyone. Today, I will present our final investment report focusing on Huynh Group, one of the leading manufacturer and distributor of galvanized steel, steel pipes, and plastic in Vietnam. The Huynh Group Stock Company is a top-tier enterprise in Vietnam, specializing in the manufacturing and distribution of galvanized and other steel production. According to VNR 500 2024 ranking, Huynh Group ranked 23rd in the list of 500 largest private enterprise in Vietnam. Domestically, it led the market with a 26.2% share during the first 9 months of 2024, and regionally, it maintained a strong presence of the Southeast Asian top steel exporter, and the head office is located at No 9 Thống Nhất Avenue, Song Thần 2 Industrial Park, Dĩ An Ward, Dĩ An City, Bình Dương Province, and its share are listed on the Ho Chi Minh City Stock Exchange with the stock code SG. The Huynh Group started in 2001 as a steel trading store with an initial trader capital of just 30 billion Vietnam dong, approximately 2 million USD, and 23 employees. This highlights the company's remarkable growth journey over the past 2 decades. By the 2014-2015 fiscal year, the group total revenue reached nearly 100 million USD, with export revenue accounting for 314 million USD and a market capitalization of 190 million USD as of December 31, 2015. This demonstrates Huynh Group initial success and growing influence in the region. On December 18, 2007, the group established Huynh Group Plastic Stock Company, formerly Huynh Group Construction Material, with a charter capital of 300 billion Vietnam dong. This is a strategic step to diversify its product, showing that the group vision goes beyond just the steel industry. Some key milestones in Huynh Group plastic segment include building plastic pipe factory in the central Bình Định 2015 and northern Hà Nam 2016 regions. In 2020, Huynh Group also received international certification of its plastic pipe, provide focus on quality and global standards. From 2014 to 2017, Huynh Group strengthened its reputation by receiving many major awards. In 2014, it was recognized as a national brand for its steel sheets, plastic pie, and zinc pies. In 2016, Huynh Group was named one of the top 15 most effective business in Vietnam and received the second-class label medal from the Presence. In early 2017, Euromoney magazine voted Huynh Group as the best managed company in Asia. By the end of 2017, Huynh Group also ranked in the top 3 list company with the best investor relation in the IR award. In the fourth quarter of 2019-2020, Huynh Group made a big achievement by setting a new record, exporting over 101,000 tons of corrugated iron sheets in just 1 month, even in the tough COVID-19 period, both in Vietnam and globally. Later, on April 25, 2021, Huynh Group was awarded the National Quality Gold Award by the Prime Minister. This award recognized Huynh Group's high-quality corrugated iron and steel pipe and its strong effort to improve product quality and compete globally. The next one is the current operation and organizational structure. As of May 31, 2025, Huynh Group has 7 subsidiaries and representative offices in key cities like Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. This shows that the group has a strong and wide business network. Huynh Group also operates 10 factories across Vietnam in the North, Central, and South regions. These factories are located strategically to save on transportation costs and to meet customer demand quickly in each region. Huynh Group is a top manufacturer and trader of galvanized and steel products in Vietnam, with over 30% of the domestic galvanized steel pipe market. and nearly 20% of the steel pie market. This shows that the Huaxian Group's strong competitive advantages in the local market. And internationally, Huaxian Group exports to more than 87 countries and territories, helping the company diversify its revenue and avoid depending on just one market. As of May 31, 2025, Huaxin Group employ around 7,000 As of May 31, 2025, Huaxin Group employ around 7,970 people, which show its large scale and positive impact on job creation. The next one is the organizational structure and management. Huaxin Group under a parent subsidiary structure, including one parent company, 9 subsidiaries, and 2 affiliates. The group focus on 4 main business areas: construction material and interior distribution, production and trading of plastic, corrugated iron and steel, and plus other sectors like transportation and real estate. Currently, Huaxin Group owns 10 major factories and nearly 500 distribution branches across the north, central, and south of Vietnam. This network helps the group reach the customer easily, maintain product quality standard, as well as deliver goods quickly and effectively. Next, we talk about the board of director. Huaxin Group apply a parent subsidiary model, and currently, Mr. Lê Phước Vũ, the founder of Huaxin Group, is the chairman of the board and the first legal representative. He played a key role in leading and supervising the group's sustainable growth. Supporting him in Mr. Trần Ngọc Chu, the permanent vice chairman and the second legal representative, who assisted in managing the group operations. Both leaders have a full authorities over internal. Both leaders had a full authority over internal matter and ensure financial transparency. And the last one, the third legal representative, is Mr. Vũ Văn Thanh, who joined Hoa Group in 2008 and served as the CFO. In 2014, he received a certificate of merit from the Bình Dương People Committee for his contribution to both the company and local community. Since April 2024, Mr. Thanh has been appointed General Director, focusing on innovation, sustainability, and operational efficiency for the group future development. Huaxin Group diverse product portfolio not only showcase its comprehensive approach to building material, but also they play a key role in risk management and revenue stability. By offering a wide range of products across steel and plastic segments, the group effectively meet various customer demand in both residential and industrial construction sector. This diversification allows Huaxin Group to capitalize on synergies between product lines, such as bundled steel and plastic products for large construction projects. Mitigate market volatility mitigate market volatility by relying on multiple revenue streams, expand its customer base on individual consumer to large-scale infrastructure and export projects. And the last one is to supporting the group strategies move toward domestic market expansion, especially under the Huaxing Home retail system. Additionally, the company operation in logistics and warehouse have improved supply chain efficiently and reduced delivery lead time, strengthening its competitive edge in both domestic and international market. The next one is Huaxing Group current financial. We can see that the Huaxing Group has shown a strong financial performance in recent years. In the 2022 to 2023 fiscal year, the company reported a profit after tax of 30 billion Vietnam dong. This number increased significantly in 2023 to 2024, reaching 514 billion Vietnam dong, showing a big improvement in business efficiency. These net operating profits also rose rapidly during the same period from 96 billion Vietnam dong to 510 billion Vietnam dong. This indicates that Hyosung Group operations are generating strong profits. In the first 6 months of the 2024 to 2025 fiscal year, from the 1st October 2024 to the March 31, 2025, Hyosung Group earned 373 billion Vietnam dong in profit after tax. Although this number is lower than the full year result of the previous years, it represents only half of the current fiscal year, which is a positive sign. According to their budget in 2024, by the end of the 7 months, Hyosung Group profit reached 460 billion Vietnam dong, completing 92% of its full-year profit target. This shows that the company is on track to meet or even exceed its financial goals for the 2024 to 2025 fiscal years. Next slide. The next one, we will continue with this SWOT analysis. First of all, the strength. Hyosung Group demonstrates several remarkable strengths that solidity its positioned as a market leader in Vietnam's steel and plastic industry. It holds the largest market share in galvanized steel domestically, and it has been the top exporter in Southeast Asia since 2009, accounting for over 40% of Vietnam's total galvanized steel export volume in 2021. This dominant position gives Hyosung Group a significantly pricing power, economic of scale, and strong influence over market dynamics. The group operates an extensive distribution network with over 500 branches and 10 strategic located factories across all three regions of Vietnam, allowing it to optimize transportation costs and respond swiftly to market demands. Additionally, its diversified product portfolio, which includes steel sheets, steel pipe, and plastic building material, help reduce reliance on a single revenue stream and meet the broad needs of the construction industry. Hyosung Group to more than 80% country and territory, with export activity contributing approximately 60% of its total revenue and over 100,000 tons shipped monthly. The company also demonstrates a strong commitment to international standard and environmental responsibility through certifications such as ISO and BSEN. This enhances the Hyosung Group global brand reputation and customer trust. Moreover, the firm maintains a healthy financial structure with no long-term debt, and its short-term debt is primarily used to fund working capital, thus minimizing financial risks. In the first half of the 2024 to 2025 fiscal year, the Hyosung Group reported a profit after tax of 371 billion Vietnam dong, averaging over 2 billion Vietnam dong in daily profits. These impressive figures reflect the group's effective strategies, stable operation, and strong market resilience. Despite its strong market positions, Hyosung Group still faces several internal challenges. One major weakness is the volatility in raw material price, especially iron ore, which is expected to fluctuate between 100 to $150 per ton in 2024, making difficulty to control production costs and pricing strategies. Additionally, Hyosung stock performance has been unstable, dropping sharply from 25,000 Vietnam dong to around 70,000 Vietnam dong share in 2024, with high volatility and a beta of 1.6, indicating higher than average market risks. The company is also heavily depending on the construction and real estate sectors, which are still struggling due to high interest rates, leading to lower steel demands. Furthermore, Hua groups operate in a highly competitive domestic market, especially with major rival like Firefight Group expanding aggressively. These factors highlight key weaknesses that could limit Hua group growth if not managed strategically.
To continue our presentation, we will move to external opportunity and threat to XSG current situation and future potential. With opportunity, which means external factor, XSG can use to its advantage. Firstly, government infrastructure initiative. The Vietnamese government is heavily investing in infrastructure, for example, road, bridge, etc., with a total amount of 7% of their GDP, which will create a huge demand for construction material like steel. Also, the National Steel Development Plan modernizing factory and research. Secondly, urbanization and population growth in Vietnam is also a good chance for HNG as more people move to city and the population grows. There's a natural and continuous need for home and office factories. SHG, with its diverse product and wide distribution, is perfectly set up to supply these projects. Moreover, anti-dumping duty by the government decision to put tariff on imported steel from China create a fairer playing field. This should significantly increase purchasing share in domestic market, allowing them to focus in their strength. With technological advancement, new technologies like automation and AI in steel production, along with smart building techs, offer a exciting way to boost efficiency and improve product quality. Finally, export growth and real estate recovery is about Vietnam's steel export, which are expected to keep growing as SNG effort to meet EU carbon rule (CBAM) could open up the valuable European market. Also, the domestic real estate market is showing signs of recovery, which will help boost steel demand. Now we move to the fourth factor, which is threat external challenge for SSG must face. HSG also needs to be aware and prepare for these external challenges. For example, with trade barrier, countries like the US are investigating Vietnamese coated steel for dumping, potentially leading to high tariff up to 88%. This would significantly increase the cost of HFG products for international buyers, hurting their competitiveness and possibly forcing them to find new market or reduce export. The same thing happened with global economic factor when weak demand from China and warning of a tougher global steel market create pressure. Since export are a big part of SSG income with a total amount of 60%, a global slowdown directly affects their sale and profit. Global instability also risks disrupting their supply chain. With rising material costs and supply chain issues, global supply chain problems, partly from COVID-19, are causing unpredictable prices and shortage of key building material like steel, cement, and timber. This impacts project budget and timeline also. Besides, labor shortage and skill gap is also a big problem when the construction industry is facing a significant lack of skilled workers, especially for advanced techniques. An aging workforce and less interest from the younger generation worsen this problem. And finally, continued high interest rates are making the real estate market slow down, which directly reduce the demand for building material. To sum it up, Hussein Group is in a complex but promising strategic position. The strong internal foundation, like being a market leader, having a wide distribution network, diverse products, strong export, top quality, give them a solid base. However, they also face internal weaknesses such as volatile raw material prices, unstable stock performance, and a strong reliance on a sometimes unpredictable construction and real estate sector. Intense local competition adds more pressure, and looking externally, XSG has a great opportunity from government infrastructure spending, growing urbanization, protective anti-dumping duty, and new technology. The potential for continued export growth and a recovering real estate market also paint a positive picture. But SSG must actively deal with significant threats like potential trade barrier, high tariff from the US, global economic slowdown, especially weak demand from China, rising material costs, labor shortage, and high interest rates affecting the real estate market. In short, HSG has a strong foundation to take advantage of these opportunities, but to success on long term, they need to be flexible and smart. They must not only pursue growth in good market, but also carefully manage risk, become even more efficiency through technology, and constantly adapt to the changing global and local market to stay profitable and resilient. All right, so we just wrap up our SWOT analysis for Hua Group, giving us a very good internal view of their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that will help us understand more about what's happening inside the company. Now, to get a complete picture, we need to zoom out a bit. We're going to shift gears and dive into the PESTO framework. By looking at these political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors, we'll gain a deeper sight into the opportunity and challenge that ASEAN face from its surrounding environment. Now, let's begin with the political factor. Political, the first factor is political, which is how the government decision and regulation affect ASEAN business. The first one is National Steel Development Plan. The Vietnamese government sees the steel industry as crucial for the country's industrialization and modernization. They have a strategic plan for steel industry development until 2030, with a vision to 2045. This plan helps steel companies like Huaseng understand the industry direction, making it easier for them to create long-term business and investment strategy. This factor ensures Huaseng growth with aligned with national goals. The next one is anti-dumping duty on import from China and domestic development plan. The Vietnamese steel industry is currently facing very tough competition to protect local business. The Ministry of Industry and Trade decided to impose temporary anti-dumping duty on some hard-rolled steel products imported from China and India, effective from February 21st, 2025. This solution will reduce competitive pressure for companies like Huaseng. Moreover, Vietnam is currently undergoing rapid urbanization and infrastructure development. Many large projects, such as high-speed railway, seaport, and new urban areas, are underway, which create a huge demand for construction steel. Because of this, the Vietnamese steel is projected to grow steadily by about 5 to 7% annually, driven by both domestic and export demand. The third one is US and China trade tension. Vietnam economy is closely linked to the global market, especially with the China and US, our two largest trading partners. When the US and China have trade dispute, trade war, it significantly affects Vietnam import and export activities. For example, if Chinese goods find it difficult to export to the US, they might flood to the Vietnamese market, increasing competitive pressure on Vietnamese business. Conversely, exporting goods from Vietnam to China could become more challenging. Additionally, there are concerns about China potentially relabeling products as made in Vietnam to bypass US tariff. If Vietnam doesn't strictly control this issue, the US might impose similar sanctions as it does on China, which could be a significant risk. With the U.S. policy of increasing steel import tariff. Recently, on June 3rd, 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order raising import tariff on steel and aluminum to 50%, doubling the previous 25% rate. This policy apply to most U.S. trading partners, except for the UK, which has a permanently trade agreement. Vietnam is among the countries affected by this tariff increase, and this could make it more difficult for Hoseng to export its steel product for the U.S. market. Next, we move to the economic factor that affecting Hoseng Group. Vietnam economic factor landscape present a mixed bag of opportunity and challenge for SSG. Let's dive into the key economic trends and their implication. The first factor is successful in inflation control. In 2024, Vietnam remarkably succeeded in keeping inflation in check. Prices remain stable with the consumer price index or the CPI for the entire year increasingly by only about 3.63%, successfully hitting the target set by the National Assembly. Crucially, this achievement stems from the government's proactive price management, ensuring the chance of essential goods and implementing supportive financial and monetary policy. Consequently, for Huawei, a significant jump in inflation in 2025 would inevitably escalate the cost of importing raw material like iron ore and cooking oil. Uh, Transport and energy costs, such as electricity, could also surge. Ultimately, this would directly inflate the steel production costs, thereby eroding Huawei profit margin. With a strong economic and GDP growth in Vietnam, moving on, Vietnam economy is displaying by very positive sign, having recovered impressively after a period of fluctuation. After a modest growth rate of 3.21% in 2020, GDP has steadily climbed, reaching 5.98% in 2024. Furthermore, it is projected to continue its strong growth trajectory, reaching 6.93 in 2025. Notably, the industry and construction sector, key customer for Hoa Sen, experienced robust growth up to a top 44% in Q1 in 2025. Evidently, this sector makes a substantial contribution to the overall economic growth. Therefore, for Huawei, the robust growth in the industrial and construction sector will boost demand for building material, new construction projects, factory expansion, and infrastructure development, including highway, bridge, and seaport, will require massive amounts of steel from Huawei ranging from rebar to graduate iron steel and steel pipe. With soaring foreign direct investment or the FDI. In addition, foreign direct investment has soared. In the first 5 months of 2025, total FDI into Vietnam reached nearly by 80 billion USD, making a sharp increase over 56% compared to the same period last year. This is indeed a very impressive figure, signaling strong confidence from foreign investors in Vietnam. Even more importantly, the amount of FDI that has actually been disrupted, the money spent to build and operate projects also hit a new record of 8.9 billion USD, the highest in the last 5 years. This indicates that FDI projects are being implemented very quickly and actively. Consequently, for housing, when FDI business invests in Vietnam, they construct a new factory, workshop, and industrial park. Only construction necessitates a large volume of construction steel, re-engineered steel, and steel pipe. The record, hi- the record high display, the record high dispute FDI capital thus confirm that these FDI construction and expansion activities are booming, creating a stable demand for part-time product. Finally, a significant boost comes from policy credit and social housing initiative. The flow of preferential credit from the government totaling over 462 million Vietnam dollars is increasing. directly supporting vulnerable groups, helping nearby 1,900 poor household new homes, and providing almost 4,100 social housing units for low-income individuals not only improve living conditions but also contribute to social welfare. As a result, for Hussein, these policies have directly driven steel demand from the social housing segment. The construction of thousands of these homes represent a direct and stable source of demand for the steel industry, including housing. Okay, so now we move to the social factor affecting SHG. Let's turn our attention to the social market and population change that influence housing market and operation. The first factor is the falling in unemployment rate. Vietnam unemployment rate has remarkably improved over the last 3 years from 2022 to 2024, dropping to a very low 1.43%. This translates to approximately 1 million unemployed individuals. Indeed, a 1.33% unemployment rate is exceptionally low by the global standard, signifying a healthy job market where virtually everyone who desires employment has it. Consequently, for Hussein, when more people are employed and have steady income, they naturally have more disposable income. This, in turn, boosts demand for goods such as houses and big ticket items like cars and appliances that encourage steel. Moreover, when consumer confidence in the economy is high, businesses are more inclined to invest and expand, which directly leads to the increased construction activities and therefore a greater need for steel. The second factor is fast population growth. Furthermore, Vietnam population is expected to reach around 100 million people in 2025. On average, the population has grown by nearly 1 million people each year from the 2019 to 2024. With such a substantial population, Vietnam continually boosts a large domestic market, which serves as a strong foundation for numerous industry and services. Therefore, for one thing, more people directly translate to increased demand for housing, encompassing both private house and social housing. This is a primary driver for the demand for construction steel, including rebar, car steel, and coagulate iron sheet. Evidently, all these new home and residential area will consume a significant amount of steel. Now we move to the third factor, which is the rapid urbanization. In addition, rapid urbanization is a key social trend. More and more Vietnamese people are migrating to city and town. The urbanization rate jumped from less than 30% in 2030 to over 40% in 2023. Looking ahead, by 2040, more than half of Vietnam population is expected to reside in urban area, reaching 50% in 2050. Undoubtedly, urbanization acts as a huge engine for economic growth by consolidating production, services, and a skilled workforce. However, this rapid city growth also presents challenges such as pollution and the imperative for careful city planning. Consequently, for Hua as city expands rapidly, there is a massive need for new building infrastructure, including roads and bridges and commercial space. This directly translates into high demand for steel and other building material that Hussein produced. Now let's talk about how new technology are shaping the steel industry and how they affect Hussein. The first factor is the development of automation. Automation helps optimize production processes, minimize human error, and thereby increasingly productivity and operational efficiency for businesses. Automation can lead to the replacement of some manual simple jobs, but at the same time, it creates demand for new jobs requiring higher skill in operating, maintaining, and developing automated systems. For the steel manufacturing industry, automated and computer control system, for example, in blast furnace, electric car, and rolling lines, have precisely controlled temperature, car pressure, and speed, ensuring consistent product quality and minimizing raw material waste. Also, automating repetitive or hazardous tasks have reduced reliance on manual labor, thereby lowering labor costs and enhancing safety. The second factor is the application of AI in steel production. AI has the AI has the ability to optimize processes, analyze large data to make better decisions, thereby enhancing productivity and operational efficiency in many industries. Contributing to GDP growth, AI systems can learn from historical data on machine performance, noise, and vibration to when a component is likely to fail. This enables proactive maintenance, minimize unexpected downtime, save costs, and increase plant operating time. Furthermore, AI can analyze data from thousands of sensors in furnace, rolling mill, and production line to precisely control temperature, pressure, and speed. This helps optimize energy usage, reduce raw material waste, and improve overall efficiency. For example, AI can automatically predict raw material blending ratio to achieve desired steel quality at the lowest cost. Finally, application of the IoT. IoT is one of the core technology of digital transformation, helping to connect devices, systems, and data, thereby creating a smart ecosystem in many fields. For the steel manufacturing industry, IoT sensor can be installed on furnace, rolling line, and machinery to collect data from the temperature, pressure, vibration, flow rate, etc. Heavy steel manufacturer monitor and precisely control parameter in real time. Strict monitoring and control of each production state thanks to IoT have ensured consistent steel quality and meet high technical standards, reducing the rate of defective product. And furthermore, the huge volume of data collected from IoT systems provide a deep insight into production operation, helping management make more accurate, strategic, and operational decisions. However, to deploy IoT in the steel industry, significant investment is required in sensor, network infrastructure, data analytic platform, and cybersecurity solution. Also, a skilled workforce with expertise in IoT and data analysis is needed. Now we move to the environmental factor, and this session will look at the environmental issue and law that affect how housing operates. The first factor is legal regulation on environmental protection in steel production. Legal regulation on environmental protection in steel production encompass specific standards and rules that businesses must comply with to minimize negative environmental impact. The steel industry is one of the largest polluters due to the generation of significant amount of emission, solid waste, and wastewater. Therefore, enhanced to environmental protection regulation is a mandatory condition to ensure the sustainable development of businesses. This includes the Environmental Protection Law 2020, which serves as the primary legal basis for environmental protection requirement in industrial production. It's including steel manufacturing and decree on administrative penalties for environmental violation, which specify penalty for act violating regulation on waste management, emission treatment, and water environmental protection. Next factor is the GHG inventory. This is the process of measuring and calculating the amount of greenhouse gases emission from the activities of a business or an organization within a specific area. The Vietnamese government has issued decree on greenhouse gas emission reduction and ozone layer protection. The steel industry is one of the most energy intensive and largest greenhouse gas emitter, especially plant using traditional blast furnace technology. Therefore, this industry will be directly and strongly impacted by emission commitment and regulation. It will including when the carbon trading exchange become operational, steel enterprises will have to pay for emission rights, for example, purchase carbon credit or invest in emission reduce to the reduction of technology to avoid these costs. The steel plant need to make significant investment in lower carbon technology such as electric arc furnace, EAF, or utilizing scrap, researching and developing green steel production technology using hydrogen or carbon capture and storage technology as well as enhancing energy efficiency. The last factor of legal is the impact of natural disaster. Vietnam is one of the country most se- Vietnam is one of the countries that's severely affected by natural disaster worldwide. Over the past 3 decades, extremely weather went from have claimed the approximately 500 lives annually. Economic loss are estimated at 1% of the national GDP per year, with the total damage reaching 1 billion USD in 2020. The steel industry supply chain can be disrupted as storm, flood, and landslide can damage or block transportation routes, for example, roads, railways, seaport, making it difficult to deliver iron ore, coking coal, and scrap to steel plant. Moreover, economic damage and disruption to production and business activity due to natural disaster can lead to a general economic slowdown in affected area, consequently reducing overall investment and consumption demand, which in turn negatively impact long-term steel demand. Now that we have covered the environmental responsibility and challenges of ASEAN, let's dive into the legal factor. These are the law and regulation that directly shape how ASEAN operate and compete. The first factor is restructuring the steel industry with CBAM. CBAM or Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism is an EU mechanism designed to apply a carbon price to goods imported to the EU, aiming to encourage cleaner industrial protection outside the EU. From 2026, Vietnamese steel enterprises exporting to EU market will have to pay a carbon fee based on emission generated during their production process. This will directly increase product costs, negatively affecting the price competitiveness of Vietnamese steel. Vietnamese lack sufficiently underlying and simple domestic carbon emission measurement, reporting, and verification system to meet CBAM treatment requirements. This makes it difficult to accurately declare emission, and if unable to provide proof, exporter may face the highest default fees from the EU. Nevertheless, CBM creates a strong and urgent improvement for Vietnamese steel enterprise to accelerate their transition toward cleaner, lower carbon production technology, and this may present an opportunity to modernize the industry, enhance energy efficiency, and minimize environmental impact. The second factor is anti-dumping law for coated steel from China and South Korea. Vietnamese issued decision on April 1st, 2025, applying temporary anti-dumping duty to some coated steel products or originating from China and South Korea. Affecting from April 16, 2025, the application of anti-dumping duty aimed to prevent or limit significant damage to domestic coated steel manufacturers from competition posed by the dump imported product. So when low price imported cold steel products are controlled, the domestic coated steel market will become more stable, avoiding situation where prices are pushed too low due to dumping, ensuring reasonable profits for domestic enterprises. With reduced competitive pressure from import, Vietnamese coated steel manufacturers can increase production output, enhance operational efficiency, and expand their domestic market share. Finally, the industry protection policy. Vietnamese steel industry protection policy encompasses economic measure, tax policy, and import management applied to safeguard and de- to develop Vietnam domestic steel manu- manufacturing industry. This policy include measures such as fiscal policy. Vietnam provided capital support to domestic steel manufacturers to reduce costs and enhance product competitiveness and domestic consumption promotion. Vietnam also encouraged the consumption of domestically produced steel product by implementing policy that is the use of local steel. The Ministry of Industry and Trade affirmed that the steel industry play a particularly crucial role in country industrialization and modernization development process. Overall, the political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors present a mixed but generally promising outlook for SSG. SSG benefits significantly from strong government support for the steel industry, including development strategy and measures to protect the domestic market from unfair import. This provides a stable environment for growth and economically Vietnam's stable inflation, impressive GDP growth, and record high foreign investment, or the FDI, are creating a booming demand for steel, especially from the construction and industrial sector. Social trends like urbanization and a growing population further boost this demand, ensuring a large domestic market. Technologically, adopting automation, AI, and IoT offer Hoseng huge opportunity to boost efficiency, improve quality, and reduce waste. However, this also means significant investment and the need for a skilled workforce. Environmentally, SHE face increasingly strict regulation and the global push for carbon reduction like the EU CBAM, while challenging, is also pushed pushing to modernize, become more energy efficient and adopt greener production methods to stay competitive, especially in the export market. The impact of natural disaster remain a key risk to monitor. Finally, legal framework, including anti-dumping law and government support policy, largely favor the domestic steel industry. However, XAG and Vietnam must quickly develop better carbon emission tracking system to meet the international standard like the CBAM. And in a sense, HSG is well positioned for growth thanks to a global economy and strong domestic demand. But to ensure sustainable success, the company must proactively manage international trade challenge, embrace technological upgrade, and commit to a greener production to maintain its competitive edge.
So after the Best-Style analysis, we would help you to have a better understanding about Hoa Sen Group. So that's why the reason we introduce with you the portfolio force analysis. And the first part of this analysis is competitive rivalry. You know, Vietnam's steel and construction material industry is highly competitive with many large, well-established companies. In 2024, finished steel production grew by 6.1%, reaching 29.44 million tons. The construction industry also grew by 7.34% in the first half of 2024. Despite this growth, competition is intense, not only due to expanding markets, but also because companies are fighting for market share. And as you can see on the slide, are some key competitor for of Hoa Sen Group. It include Nam Kim Steel, Đông Nam Á, Hoa Phát Group, and another local companies. Yes, and they also face competition from international companies, especially steel from products from China, with a cheaper. Other global competitors include Bao Steel from China, Nippon Steel from Japan, CSC from Taiwan, and POSCO from South Korea. In 2024, Huasen Group our largest market share of the galvanized steel galvanized market steel market in Vietnam with 29.2% share in production and 26.6% in sales. However, the competition is fierce in the southern part of Vietnam, where Hà Phát and Nam Kim are close competitors. Uh, for steel pipe, Hòa Phát leads both in production and sale, while Hoa Sen Group come in second and their competitor also have their own strategies. With Hòa Phát, they use strategies where they control every step from mining iron ore to making finished products. This help them to stay on cost and maintain quality control. They also invest in expanding their capacity. With Namkim, they focus heavily on the export market, especially in Europe and the Americas. They aim for higher profits by targeting specialized international markets. With Đông Nam Á, they diversify their products, including different types of coated steel, and focus on domestic and export market. And the challenge for Hoa Sen Group is the steel industry require huge investment in factories, equipment, and raw materials. High fixed costs make it hard for companies to exist the market. So they keep trying to operate even during tough times. This often leads to price war, which puts pressure on profits, rising cost of coal, oil, and material, along with fluctuating interest rates and exchange rates, adds further pressure on companies. So the next part of this analysis is risk of new entrants. The risk of new entrants in Vietnam's steel and construction material industry is low due to several high barriers to entry. Starting a steel plant or distribution chain requires significant capital investment, with large projects like Hòa Phát, Dung Quất Iron, and steel complex requiring billions of Vietnam đồng. Even small scale steel shop need a minimum investment of 100 million Vietnam dong. Additionally, advanced production technology is necessary, particularly from high quality steel, which Vietnam is still unable to fully produce on its own. Establishing a nationwide distribution network, like Huaxin Group has with over 500 branches, also demands substantial resources and time. The industry is governed by strict regulation, such as business license and land use rights, which adds another layers of difficulty for new players. Moreover, existing companies such as Huaxin Group actively protect the markets by opposing anti-dumping duties on raw materials and supporting duty on imported products, creating a challenging environment for new entrants. Despite projected market growth, this barrier, along with strong resistance from established businesses, keep the threat of new competition low. So the next part of this analysis is bargaining power of buyers. Huaxin Group serve both domestic market and major export markets such as the US, EU, ASEAN, the Middle East, South Asia, Africa, Australia, and the Americas. In the domestic market, Hoa Sen Group targets customers in major cities who prioritize qualities and eco-friendly products. One key feature is the Huaxin Group home system, which sell directly to customer, giving Huaxin Group a unique advantage. Still, prices are influenced by factors like quality, quantity, market competition, and global economy. Customers often compare prices from competitors, but Huaxin Group strong brand and distribution system allow them to keep their prices higher than competitors while maintaining a stable profit margin. This is because customer not only values the price but also the added value from the brand and service. Switching supplier is costly, especially for large dealers and contractors. The initial investment in inventory, equipment, and premises can be significant, making it expensive for a customer to change suppliers. This high switching costs reduces their bargaining power. Western Group had minimized customer concentration by targeting a diverse customer base both domestically and for exports. The development of Western Home System, which sell directly to customer, uh, which are directly to customer, have spread out customer demand and lower the risk of a new customer pressuring prices or demand too much. The Huaxing Group home system is a competitive advantage with 115 store nationwide. It allows Huaxing Group to deliver product quickly, maintain quality control, and offer transparent pricing and strong after-sales service. This system strengthens Huaxin Group position by reducing reliance on third-party distributor and enhancing customer loyalty, further reducing buyer bargaining power. And the next part is bargaining power of supplier. Huaxin Group main raw material is hot rolled coil, which we can call HRC, which is essential for producing coated steel sheets and steel pipes. Other key materials include iron ore, cooking coal, and imported mainly from Australia, China, and Brazil, and steel scrap mainly from Japan. These input material make up around 70 to 80% of the production cost of steel products. Vietnam's steel industry is heavily reliant on imported raw material, especially HRC. In the first 2 months of 2024, Vietnam imported 1.89 million tons of HRC, which make up about 74% coming from China. Domestically produced steel pellets only meet about only meet about 50 of the demand, with the rest of it being imported. This reliance on imports, especially from a few countries, make Huaxin Group and other Vietnamese steel companies vulnerable to price fluctuation and supply issues. Since materials accounts for such a large portion of production costs, any price increase from suppliers significantly impact Huaxin Group profit margins. To reduce this risk, Huaxin Group tried to maintain an inventory of raw materials for about 2 months. However, their strong opposition to anti-dumping duties on HRC, so that switching to local sources if imports are restricted would be costly in terms of post price and supply stability. Major HRC suppliers like Hòa Phát and Formosa Hà Tĩnh are also competitors as they produce finished steel products alongside supplying raw materials. This gives them dual power over Huaxin Group, both in terms of raw material pricing and market competition. Global price fluctuation are another challenge. For example, when HREC's prices drop sharply, Western groups have to provision 100 22 billion Vietnam dong in the fourth quarter of fiscal year 24. This highlights how much Hoa Sen Group rely on supplier and how vulnerable they are to price uh, volatility. Volatility. Okay, so the next part of Porterfield forces analysis is threat of substitute. Uh, well, the threat from substitute products for Huaxin Group galvanized steel sheets and pipes is moderate to high, especially from materials like galvanum steel and PE or PVC coated steel pipe. Uh, the first part we would like to consider to you is Gravelu steel. Gravelu Galvalume is gaining popularity as a substitute for galvanized steel. It offers 4 times better corrosion resistance and longer lifespan, while more expensive than galvanized steel. Its superior quality make it a preferred option to many project owners. Huaxin Group needs to innovate and diversify its product offerings to meet customer demand for higher performance materials and not just basics one. The second one is alternative roofing materials, roof tile, composite panel, and is isolated panels are alternative depending on the project needs, like aesthetic, fire resistant, and sound isolation. And the third is substitute products for steel and plastic pipes. BE or PVC coated steel pipe are becoming more popular because of their chemical resistance, heat isolation, and longer lifespan. This offers strong competition despite higher costs. Other metal pipes like stainless steel offer high durability, but are more expensive and harder to work with. And the composite pipe, or we call FRP, are lightweight, easy to install, and offer good durability, but come with a higher initial cost. And the fourth is price performance comparison. Galvalume still had a higher cost per meter, but provides a longer lifespan, making it a better values in the long run. BE or BVC coated steel pipes offer better durability and corrosion resistance. Uh, though they are also priced higher than uncoated steel pipe. The composite pipes are lightweight and offer good long-term benefits, but are expensive to upfront. So, how about the substitute appeals? Although substitute products may have higher initial costs, they provide superior long-term values in terms of durability, corrosion resistance, and performance. This makes them attractive, especially for large or specialized projects. Customer often pays decision not just the initial price, but on the total cost of ownership, which includes factors like lifespan and maintenance costs. In conclusion, while substitute may be more expensive initially, they can offer significant benefits in the long run. Huasen Group must focus on highlighting the long-term values and its products and consider diversifying into higher values, higher performance segment to stay competitive. Okay, and now is the conclusion for this analysis. Huasen Group in Oh, I'm sorry, but with the competitive rivalry, the steel and construction material market in Vietnam is highly competitive. There are many big players like Hòa Phát Group, Nam Kim, and Tonoma, as well as foreign competitors, especially from China, offering low-cost products. Despite market growth, competition is intense, with the company fighting for market share. Huaxin Group has maintained a strong position in galvanized steel but faces tougher competition from the in the south and from Huafac in steel pipe. Competitors use different strategies like Huafac roof, closed roof value chains, napkin roof, export focus, and Tôn Đông Á high quality products, making it necessary for Hoa Group to constantly innovate and diversify. With the threat of new entrants, the threat from new entrants is low due to high barrier to entry. The steel industry requires massive capital investment for factories, technology, and distribution network. Huaxin Group, along with other established players, actively defend against potential new competitors by supporting policies that protect the domestic market. This makes it hard for new businesses to enter and with the bargaining power for buyer, the power for of buyers is low to medium. Huaxian Group service to a wide range of customers, both domestically and internationally, is Huaxian Group home system, which sells directly to consumer, have reduced dependence on large intermediaries. Fashion Group's strong brand reputation and focus on quality products allow it to maintain higher prices than some competitors. High switching costs for large customers such as contractors and dealers also limit their bargaining powers as changing supplier is expensive. So with the bargaining power of supplier, Huaxin Group faces high supplier power due to its heavy reliance on import HRC, or we call hot rolled coil, which make up to 7 to 80% of production costs. A large portion of HRC comes from China. And fluctuation in global prices can affect Hoa Group profits. Domestic Hoa Group suppliers like Hòa Phát and Formosa Hà Tĩnh not only supply raw material but also compete in finished steel products, which was additional pressure on Hoa Group. And the threat of substitute, the threats from substitute is medium to high for galvanized steel sheets. Um, Galvalume steel is becoming more popular due to its better corrosion resistance, longer lifespan, and heat reflection despite its higher cost. Other materials like roof tile, composite panel, and insulate panels also serve as alternative depending on specific project needs. For pipe, substitute like PE and PVC coated pipe, stainless steel and composite pipe all offer benefits such as better corrosion, resistance and durability, pushing Huasen Group to compete on more than just price, but also on long-term performance. And one conclusion for this analysis is Huasen Group operates in challenging markets with fierce competition, high supplier power, and rising threats from substitute. However, its strong brand, direct to distribution model, and high barrier to entry provide significant advantages. To stay competitive, Huasen Group must continue to innovate, diversify its product portfolio, and express supply chain vulnerability and address supply chain vulnerability. So moving on to the next part of this report, we would like to introduce with you guys a financial analysis, and here the figure related to this analysis. Okay. There are three small analysis in this part. The first one that we would like to introduce to you guys is profitability analysis. It would answer the question how well this Huaseng group make profits. So as you can see, over the last 5 years, the Huaseng group's profits had changed a lot. In 2020 to 2021, the company had its past year is return on sale, return on assets, and return on equity all increased sharply. This means the company were making good use of its resources and bringing in solid profits. However, in 2021 to 2022 and 2022 to 2023, things got worse. The ROS fell to just 0.5%, ROA dropped to around 1.5%, and the ROE fell to only about 2%. In short, the company almost stopped making profits during these years, like because of rising costs or market problems. In 2023 to 2024, there was a slight improvement. ROS rose to 1.3%, ROA to 2.6%, and the ROE to nearly 4.7%. Still, these numbers are far below the peak in 2020 to 2021. So, if Huasing wants to become more stable and profitable in the future, it must figure out why these up and downs happen and manage them better. About the second analysis, we would introduce with you the liquidity analysis. It would answer the question that came Huaseng Group by its short-term debt. So Huaseng ability to meet short-term payment has steadily improved. In current ratio went from about 1 in 2019 to 2020 to a high of 1.7 in 2022 to 2023. This means the company built up more short-term assets like cash or inventory compared to its short-term debt. In 2019 to 2020, the ratio of one means it could just barely pay its short-term bills, but by 2022 to 2023, with a ratio of 1.7, it had a comfortable buffer. Even though the ratio dropped slightly to 1.64 in 2023 to 2024 is still a good number. Anything above I show in the company is financially healthy in the short term. This so that Huaseng Group has improved its working capital management and is now better prepared to handle its short-term financial needs. So moving on to the last analysis in the financial analysis is solvency analysis. This part would answer the question, is Huaseng safe from long-term debt problems? So Huaseng also makes strong progress in reducing its overall debt in 2019 to 2020 to 2021 to 2022. The total debt ratio fell from 62% to just 36%. This means the company relied much less on borrowed money, would have lower financial risk and interest cost. By 2020 to 2023, Huaseng has almost no long-term debt left. The long-term debt ratio dropped to nearly 0%. This means most of its borrowings were short-term. While short-term debt is manageable, it must be handled carefully to avoid cash flow problems. In 2023 to 2024, the total debt ratio rose a little to 44%, but this is still far better than 5 years ago. Overall, the company's balance sheet looks stronger with less dependence on long-term borrowing. So here is the conclusion for financial analysis. What do all these numbers mean? Well, to sum up, Huaseng Group had made some big changes. It had an excellent years in 2020 to 2021, but then faced serious challenges in the 2 years after. The profitability dropped sharply and only slightly recovered in 2023 to 2024. The company still needs to work on is making its profits more stable. On the bright side, the Huaxin Group had done well in improving liquidity and solvency. It's now in a stronger position to pay short-term debts and had lowered its long-term financial risk by paying down much of its debt. Going forward, the company should focus on managing short-term debt smartly and boosting its ability to make steady profits. If Huasen Group can do that, it will be a great position to grow, stay stable, and create more values for shareholders.
In my presentations, I would like to talk about the non-financial performance of Quyen Group. As we know, non-financial factors are become more and more important. They not only support the company's strategies, but also affects its financial success. And let's begin with the first parts. First of all, Quyen Group has a strong system of corporate governance. This means that the company follows clear rules and has good leadership. It also use a code of conduct to make sure everyone follows the law and behaves in the right way. In addition, Parsi shares financial information openly and talks with its stakeholders regularly. Important documents include the company charter, the board of director regulations, and the information disclosure regulations. Thanks to the efforts, Parson Group build trust with investor, and also this clear structure helps the company stay stable and grow in the long term. Now let's talk about the Parson Group works. No, that's it. Now let's talk about the Parson Group work in CSR, stand for Corporate Social Responsibility, and ESG stand for environmental, social, and governance. To start with, Positive cares about the environment. In 2023, the company received important environment certificates like this two ISO certificates. These apply to three factories and nearly 20 product lines. Because of this, Boston Group can export products to the European market under CBAM rules. Moreover, Boston Group is working toward carbon neutrality by reducing gas emissions. It uses new technology to save energy and even turns waste heat into electricity. Besides that, the company used recycled materials and hold events like Hussein Group Green Days to encourage staff to protect the environment. These actions help Hussein Group reduce costs, improve brand image, and attract green investors. They also match the Vietnamese government goal of net zero emissions by 2010. In addition to caring for the environment, Carson Group also help the community. For example, they sponsor events like the Data Fest Dance Crew 2025 and supports programs such as Vietnamese Family Center. They also support the poor families. This shows that Hassan Group is socially responsible. As a result, the company earns public trust, builds a good image, and strengthens customer loyalty. Next, Let's look at the human resources. Constant Group believes that people are the company's most important assets. That's why it provides training from basic to advanced level, both inside and outside the company. For instance, Constant Group works with university like the University of Economic Opportunity to offer leadership course. Also, in some job, no experience is needed because the company will train for new staff. Besides training, Parson Group also offer good benefits to employees. This include performance-based income, health and accident insurance, lunch, uniform allowance, and bonus for holiday and birthday. Furthermore, the company creates chance to um, promotion and build a friendly work environment with activity like sports and cultural events. Thanks to this, Housing Group can keep talented employees, reduce hiring costs, and improve work quality. Yeah. Another important point is brand building. Housing Group has received the national brand title 5 times in a row for its main products. It was also in the top 10 most reputable building material company in 2022. The company wants to give customers good quality, eco-friendly products at fair price. And in addition, Housing Group connects its marketing with charity and community events. It also listens to customers and provides fast supports and updates on its website. As a result, Housing Group brand becomes stronger, which help increase sales and reduce advertising costs. Finally, all of these non-financial factors are parts of Housing Group's overall strategy. Environmental work helps open new market and cut costs. Human resources development lead to better quality and productivity. Brand power allow better pricing and more loyal customers. Corporate governance build investor trust and financial stability. So, in short, non-financial activity are not just extra work. They help housing group grow in a system and smart way. Attention.
Okay, let's take a look at how Hosea Group stock has actually performed over the last 3 years, right up to early 2025. First, a quick reminder, stocks means that you own a tiny piece of a company. The prices go up and down based on supply and demand. It's one of those stuff. High risk, but essentially high reward. Now, when a company does well financially, its stock usually climbs because investors get more confidence. But honestly, it's never that simple. Big stuff happening outside, global economics, industry changes, and even geopolitics can throw prices for a loop unexpectedly. And that's exactly the kind of ride Hosea Group has been on. Now, flashback to May 2023, Vietnam's economy was bouncing back after COVID. Big infrastructure projects were getting the green light, and Hosea Group stock started ticking up. Investors saw recovery and growth potential. But then, late 2023 hit. Global demand for steel took a dive thanks to inflation and geopolitical tensions. Naturally, Hussein Group stock dipped along with it. Now's the good news. 2024 government infrastructure spending gave Hussein Group's business a real boost, and investors definitely noticed. However, by mid 2024, things took another turn. The stock had dropped a significant 27.4% in just 6 months. Why the sudden fall, you may ask? There are three main possible reasons seem to be at play. The first one should be global steel prices were falling, heavily influenced by what China was doing with its pricing. And the second, financial pressure was building because they were sitting on high cost inventory. And the last reason, as we found, is should be major funds like Dragon Capital were selling off their Muslim Group shares. Now, fast forward to today, Housing Group is trading around approximately 19,000 Vietnam dong per share. The good sign is that the trading volume is still strong. That means investors are definitely paying attention. But where does it go next? That really depends on two big factors, which are the cost of raw materials and the overall global demand for steel. Now, looking ahead is not all headwinds. Hotel Group actually has some pretty solid advantages working for it. Firstly is the anti-dumping measures on certain steel products from China and South Korea have been secured until 2029. This policy shield is expected to boost Housing Group's domestic consumption by 15 up to 20%, directly improving gross profit margins. Secondly, a recent approval of an additional 320 billion Vietnam dong investment into the Housing Phú subsidiary significantly increases its charter capital. This move directly targets enhanced production capacity to better serve the domestic demand. Thirdly, Hudson Group maintains a robust distribution network with over 400 agents and 110 retail stores. The company holds a strong competitive position in the market. And finally, the share buyback program, targeting up to 100 million shares, demonstrates management's commitment to stabilizing stock values and rebuilding investor confidence during market volatility. But Housing Group isn't without challenges. The falling steel prices, and especially in HRC global prices, squeezed profit margins, and consequently, financial strain is evident. The falling prices of HRC reduced inventory value, while Pasan Group faced rising inventory carrying costs and increased borrowing to finance working capital needs due to prolonged business cycles. Now, competitive intensity is another major pressure point. The domestic steel market shows signs of saturation. Competitors like Huac Group and Dodong Air are aggressively investing in modern technology, expanded capacity, and product quality, which is directly threatening Huac Group's market share. But in summary, Huac Group remains a resilient leader in the Southeast Asian steel industry, underpinned by strong market share, export capabilities, and brand recognition. Yet, its future success hinges on navigating persistent challenges, volatile raw material costs, and intense competitive pressures. While Hudson Group possesses a solid foundation, its ability to manage financial risk, innovate amidst competition, and lead in sustainability will determine its capacity to transform current challenges into a sustainable future growth. And that is why we may invest in Hudson Group if the chance comes. And that is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.